Yeah, thanks for that, brother. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't start the recording. Um, wow.
Right.
All right.
It's
So
okay. We'll just gonna.
yes. So it's recording now, though. So from this point forward, it's recording. But thank you, brother. Thank you for that. So epsilon iota is a. That's how you pronounce it, a. And in fact, it's very similar to how you pronounce this guy right here, eta. I can't really hear a distinction in it. I don't hear any difference. Somebody might make an argument there is a little bit of a difference, but I don't really see it. So you pronounce this pretty much the same. So the eta, you pronounce it a, just like you pronounce this one. And in fact, this one is actually treated as a long version of this. So when you lengthen this, and we'll get into the whole lengthen. It has to do with what we're talking about here: short versions versus long versions. We'll get into that. But when you lengthen it, this becomes this. I don't hear any distinction in how it's pronounced with the Erasmian pronunciation anyway. So you pronounce those the same. So we'd say a. So
A. Okay.
yeah,
A. A.
yeah. And then this guy here is, like I said, epsilon iota, the diphthong. These are diphthongs. These are vowels down here. Sorry. So these are our 7 vowels, and I guess since I just started recording, I better mention that. So we got our 7 vowels here. So alpha, epsilon, eta, iota, omicron, upsilon, omega. Let me just mention to everybody that's watching this recording that didn't come to class. I apologize. I didn't start the recording until just now. So we already went through the alphabet. We kind of reviewed what we did last week. So maybe if you go back through that part of the video from last week where it's actually going over the alphabet, and then I can make sure you get that, Ken, and then connect that together with this.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and there won't be so much of a gap. But anyway, I apologize. So here's the 7 vowels. So alpha, epsilon, eta, iota, omicron, upsilon, omega in the alphabet. That's our vowels. The way you pronounce them, we're kind of walking through to actually how you pronounce them when you use them in words. Would be, or ah, is this one. So and this is a. And then we started going over some of the diphthongs. There's actually, I think there's 7 diphthongs too, pretty sure. So 7 vowels, 7 diphthongs, pretty sure. So we'll walk through those, but we're getting started here. So this one here, epsilon iota, is pronounced a, which is the same pronunciation as this vowel, a, eta, which is pronounced a. So they're both pronounced as a. That's the way we pronounce a. And then alpha iota, again, is pronounced kind of like your eye, their eyeball, eye. So you pronounce alpha iota together as one. That's what we do with diphthongs. We take 2 vowels and they're treated as one. That's the way the Greeks did it. So, and there's only 7 of them, like I said. So for this one, alpha and iota together as a diphthong is pronounced I. But again, when we pronounce alpha all by itself without the iota, all by itself is ah. So when it's with the iota, it'll be I. Okay. And then omicron all by itself, this one right here, will be, O. And then the omega will be a longer version. You would actually hold it longer, probably twice as long or 3 times as long. Or just emphasize it, longer. But the short one it'd just be O. And then some people will pronounce it. You'll see if you go out, poke around on YouTube, you'll see some seminaries or whatever. They actually make it sound like ah, and they make this one like O. And that's not the way I learned it. And I don't know. I just think it kind of sounds weird, but it makes it confusing with alpha. But anyway, so this is like just O, and then this is O. So omega would be O, and this would be O. So omicron together with iota is pronounced oi, like we said, soy sauce, so oi. Okay, so A, I, oi, and then we're going to take same letters, but now we're going to combine it with something else. So now we're going to take epsilon, we're going to put with the upsilon, and then we're going to put also alpha with the upsilon. That's what we'll see. So we're basically using upsilon and iota to combine together with these 3 letters, and we're making our diphthongs. So this one, some people might pronounce it like Europe, you know. But I mean, the way the classes I was taking with Polish Institute, they would almost like, instead of treating it just like one, like you, and you're welcome to pronounce it that way if you want, just pronounce it as you. But they would actually pronounce it eu. So they would go eu. So it was almost like a eu, you know, kind of flow or something like eu. So I mean, that's kind of the way I'm trying to say it. That's the way they do it. So you could say it either way. So either you, which would be kind of like saying it like that, you, or so you can either say it that way. Let me get rid of soy sauce here. So you can either pronounce it that way, you, or a, maybe something like this, a-oo in English. So a-oo, you know, and you might, some people might, you know, I'd see. I guess some people might pronounce it that way, a-oo, but a-oo or something like that. So a-oo is kind of how you pronounce that. And then alpha upsilon would be ow. So that would kind of like a cow, like this. Or maybe you stub your toe and you're like, ow, ow, you know, kind of thing. So ow. So that's 5 of them so far. That's 5 of our diphthongs. And then let's see, another one, get rid of this, would be, anyone guess? So we used epsilon, we used alpha. Our next one's going to be using this one. Does anybody guess what it might be?
Omicron.
We're using
Omicron.
We use those, yeah, we're using that and that. So we're using Omicron combined with this guy, right?
E-O-E.
Yeah, Omicron upsilon. So that would be oo. So that would be oo. So this is like eu, and this is ow, and this is oo. So yeah, you can either say it like this or ooh or whatever, something like that. Ooh. So that's 6 of them, and then the last one is. Let's see if I can remember what it is. What is the last one? Let me check real quick. I think it uses the eta actually.
A-O-E.
Diphthongs. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, they did use that one. That's kind of an 8th one. There's traditionally 7, but I'll give you this other one as well. So yeah, so I guess I forgot this one. So when we were doing these guys, I forgot this one. So we were doing Yoda with some of these guys. So actually we're going to take, let me go ahead and get rid of that. Just put ooh there. So this one will be upsilon with Yoda. So upsilon with Yoda. That would be pronounced as like we, like us guys, we. So, or you could even say we kind of thing. So 1, 2, 3, and then another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's the 7 traditional diphthongs. But then there's this other one too that kind of comes in every once in a while. I don't know if it's really in the New Testament or not. It might be. But it's basically a lengthened epsilon to an eta together with, so it's kind of a lengthened version of this. So that would be like, you know, also kind of like a-oo. So a-oo, a-oo. So a-oo, a-oo. So it's, I mean, I don't see much different than this, but these are most of the ones that are in the New Testament, these guys here. So we, oo, ow, you, or eu, sorry. Yeah. And actually, maybe I should probably spell that differently. Let me do it this way. A-oo. A-oo. Oi, I. So A. So let's walk through them one by one. Everybody repeat with me. So epsilon iota is A.
A.
Okay, and then that's just like our eta down here and our vowels. So A, okay, no real distinction in pronunciation. And then I, okay, so that's alpha and iota is I, okay.
Alpha iota.
Alpha and iota, and again, these are diphthongs. These are when we have combined vowels together. They're treated as one unit, as one pronunciation. So Omicron iota is oi. And then epsilon upsilon is eu. Yeah. And then alpha upsilon is ow. You know, like when you stub your toe.
Alpha upsilon.
Ow. Yeah.
Ow.
And then omicron upsilon is
What is it?
Omicron upsilon.
What is it? Omicron upsilon.
Yeah, so that's pronounced as oo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's like yes, like that. Oh, like that.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, just pronounce it. I mean, I guess that's one way to phonetically do it, or do it like this, EW, like ooh. Think of it that way, like ooh.
Yeah. AW. Epsilon omega.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Yeah, my mind is blanking out here. Ooh, or no. Wait a minute. My mind is blanking out here. Yeah, ooh, like in group. Yeah.
Ooh.
So like similar to like group. Yeah. So ooh.
What's that? Ooh.
Yeah. This right here. Ooh is like in group. Ooh, group. Ooh, groove.
Oh.
Yeah.
Group. Ooh.
Yeah. And so the next one, upsilon iota, is going to be like we. So you pronounce it we.
We. Upsilon iota.
We.
Upsilon iota. We.
Yeah, and then this one is like, you know, again, very similar to this, and my green pen is dying on me here. Yeah, so very similar to this. This is a lengthened version of that, but it's pretty much pronounced pretty much the same. So it'd be like AU, kind of like this, AU. Yeah, you're hardly ever going to see that one now. Yeah, so you probably won't even see it in this class. I don't think anything we'd look at in the New Testament would have that. So, but these are the seven we need to know. So, yeah. So, and then let's walk through all the rest of the vowels. So 7 vowels. So this would be like like pet, no, like pet, like like egg or pet or even the beginning of when you say the word epsilon, so
Epsilon,
So and then this is just like this. So this is going to be A. Yeah, and this would be let's see. This would be E.
Is it lambda?
Yeah, no, sorry, this is like a iota.
Iota.
Yeah, so this was like E. Yeah. And then Omicron would be like, you know, O, but it's just short, so it just, you know, you don't really hold it like you do with this one. So it's just O.
Omicron.
Yeah, so it'd be O. It's pronounced like O. And then upsilon would be U. I guess that's similar to. It's not that much different than this, like, you know, group like U, Omicron, upsilon, diphthong versus upsilon all by itself. It's not much difference there. And then omega is just a longer version of this. So where this is O, this might be O. Do you hold it longer? O. Yeah. Wait, when I do my walk.
O.
Yeah. Is that pretty much clear to everybody, or?
Yeah, it's clear, but I'm gonna have to
I need
practice.
to memorize all the
It's clear that I
7
don't know.
vowels. Alpha, epsilon. What's that? The N.
Man, this is like trying to speak Greek. What the?
Yeah. Hey, Ken, hold on one second. Lewis, what were you trying to say?
No, I'm sorry.
This one, the alpha, epsilon. The next thing, what is that? The N. No, before iota
Okay, yeah, but Ken.
is.
Hey, Ken, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on one
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Hold on one second, brother. Lewis, did you have anything, or you didn't have anything?
No, I was making a joke. I'm sorry for interrupting with the stupid.
Oh, okay.
I apologize.
Yeah, no worries, man. Okay. All right.
What, Brett? What are the long vowels? Which ones?
Okay, so the long vowels would be eta. So this one right here, eta. So this is A. You know, we pronounce it A. And then another long one would be
Eta.
omega.
Eta.
Yeah, so these are for sure always long. And then alpha, iota, and upsilon kind of, I guess you could say it like it depends on context, depends on the situation, whether it's short or long. So, and then even what that means, short or long, don't even worry about that too much yet. So, but yeah, eta and omega are always long. Omicron and epsilon are always short. And then these others, alpha, iota, and upsilon are sometimes long, sometimes short. So,
Hey, Brett.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go, but
Okay.
I wanted to ask. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get off. I've been at work all day, so I need to spend time with the family. But,
Yeah, man, absolutely.
I wanted to ask that brother, I forget his name, about the name of that app he was using before I get off, so I can practice.
Oh, while you were disconnected, Brett, I told him that I was using the flashcards cram on the phone.
Okay.
Is it okay if I send some links on our chat that were helpful to me?
Yeah. The only thing is you use them. I encourage you to definitely use as many resources or whatever. But when we like from week to week say, hey, let's focus on this. Let's focus on this. Try to set that other stuff aside and focus on studying that stuff. But in general, yeah, right. That's good, brother. Yeah, good. So.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get off, and I appreciate it, Brett. Nice seeing everybody, and I will practice this week.
Okay, God bless you.
Amen. Bye bye. God bless you. Happy Sunday.
Yeah. Say hi to Brendan, everybody.
Okay.
See you, brother. Okay, so let's review here. I'll go ahead and erase all that. So I wrote 7 diphthongs, but as it turned out, there ended up being 8. 7 that you pretty much are going to use, and then there's this other one that I don't know if it's even in the New Testament. It might be. It definitely would be in the Greek Old Testament. It definitely would be in other Greek writings, but it was that one, eta, upsilon. So, but, just be aware of it. Don't worry about it too much.
Excuse me, Sir Brett.
Yes, sir.
There is old Greek and there's also New Greek.
Oh, you talking about modern Greek?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is different than modern Greek. Modern Greek, I think, is very similar. I don't think it's really changed that much, but there's differences. So, yeah, there's differences.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, Frank, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say when I was practicing the sounds of the word with the videos, the biggest difference I heard between the two is that in the Koine Greek, all the ones that would be I are more like the iota, the phi, and the phi, ki, si, whereas the regular Greek it's phi, chi, and psi, and iota.
Oh,
that was
okay.
the biggest. I could see the difference.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I know even with like Koine Greek, there is some variations of how different schools will even pronounce it. Even within the realm, most people pronounce it Erasmian, at least what I've run into, Erasmian pronunciation. But even within quote unquote Erasmian, there's a little bit of variation of how people will pronounce some Erasmian stuff. So, but so yeah, we're gonna basically stay within the realm of Erasmian pronunciation, but yeah, I'm pretty much gonna share with you the pronunciation that I kind of learned from going to Polis Institute and stuff. So, but most people, most of the videos I get out on the internet, maybe initially when they kind of like, there's some where there's this one guy, I'll eventually share these with you, to where he seems like he tries to lean towards a modern Greek pronunciation, and I've trained my ear to be able to understand him. So I don't have any problems understanding him now. But initially, because I was doing the Erasmian, there was a little bit of sometimes where I was just like, what did he just say? But then as I'm looking at the context, since they kind of act the things out, he kind of does a little bit of what they call, there's a style of learning they call TPR, which is total physical response, which is kind of the idea of interaction and acting things out and illustrating things and all that kind of stuff, so that people aren't just trying to like memorize flashcards, for instance, to use an analogy, but they're actually like seeing, they're seeing the illustrations of what the words mean, and in that sense, it's more contagious. It's more like, they get it more than they do just. Not saying there's anything wrong. I mean, I spent a lot of time just memorizing stuff, just like I do, trying to memorize scripture and stuff. But when you combine the two together, they're, I think, it's a very powerful combination and stuff. So, especially when when you get into, and I want to do this in our class where we're actually talking with each other, because when you're actually going over the same vocabulary, the same things you're learning, and you're discussing these things over and over, and you're practicing first person, second person, third person, singular, plural, and all these different variations like Polis Institute does, you just start to own it. You start to get it. You don't have to think so much to translate. You start to, over time, when you do that a lot, where it doesn't take much when you're reading the text for you to just, what it means. You don't have to sit there and go, okay, this means that, but it takes time of just doing that over and over and over. So I really think the combination of the traditional way of learning, just like we did with English, probably, Ken, you probably did with Tagalog as well, where you grow up, your mom teaches you how to speak, everybody teaches you how to speak Tagalog, but as you're growing up, you get into school, they start teaching the grammatical rules, and you put that together with it, and and then you learn how to use the language and speak very, very intelligently. And similarly, I think when you go over the grammatical rules, the traditional way of learning Greek, and then you put it together with actually conversing in it as a living language, is what they would call it. It's just a really powerful combination. So then when you go to the text, you just get it. Especially the easier books, like John is one of the easier. The Gospel of John. It's one of the easier ones to read. Mark's not too bad, and so we'll probably start out with some Gospel of John or something. So the diphthongs, we'll just go over the 7 diphthongs. Who can tell me one of them? Who can tell me one of the diphthongs? Anybody? Anybody remember the 3 vowels that we use to form our diphthongs? The first letter of our diphthong is formed from one of 3 letters. One of 3 vowels. Frank, what was that?
Epsilon was one.
Epsilon was one, yeah. Epsilon.
Epsilon. Okay.
Alpha? Ken was trying to say alpha, I think.
Alpha.
Alpha? Okay. And then another one will be Omicron.
Omicron.
Yeah, so that's going to be like the first letter. And then the second one will be either Upsilon or Iota. That would be the second.
Iota.
Yeah.
Epsilon and Iota.
So if we take, let's say, Epsilon and we put it together with Upsilon, that makes one of them. If we take Epsilon, put it together with Iota, that makes one of them, right? So that's the second letter, Upsilon, Iota. And then we took Epsilon, right? If we go Alpha, and we put it with upsilon. Okay, so that's the second, and that's the first, alpha. Okay, so that's one of them. Alpha and iota, right? That was one. Okay, so this was AU, this was A, this was OW,
A,
and this is I.
ow,
So remember, picture like somebody's
alpha and
eyeball,
iota.
you know, maybe somebody's eye there or something.
Alpha and iota.
So you're like I
Epsilon and
is almost like cow, right? Ow. And this was
ow.
A, and this was
A. Epsilon and iota.
AU, 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 A, ow, I. Okay. Anybody, Christian, you want to walk through them, man? We'll just do one at a time. Christian, you walk through them?
AU, I, ow. Oh, that's I. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like
A.
Oh, A.
Yeah, like
Great.
play, stay, oop, stay. Yeah, A.
Stay. Okay.
Yeah.
A, ow, I.
Yep, you got it. Okay, Ken, can you walk through them?
Yeah. A.
AU,
A.
AU,
EU.
AU. Say it one more time. AU,
EU.
AU. Okay, AU.
EU.
Okay.
I.
Or no, this is A.
Uh,
Just like play or stay.
A.
Yeah, A. Because this one is I.
A.
Yeah, this is A. Yeah, maybe start again.
This one is I and it's
Yeah, start over again.
AU. AI.
Or no, just A. This is just A.
A. Okay.
Yeah, A.
A.
So A.
A.
This is
Ow.
yeah, ow. Yeah, exactly like cow. Ow. And this is
Ow and I.
yeah, I. There you go.
I.
Okay. Frank,
Wow.
you wanna give it a shot?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you got this, man.
Okay, so it's AU,
Yeah, AU.
A, ow,
Uh-huh.
I.
Cool. All right, awesome. Okay. All right, let me get rid of this part. That you guys mastered it already. Okay, so let's see. So, and then Omicron. Anybody want to guess what it would be the next letter? And the second.
Is I.
Okay, so I could put a Yoda, right?
Yeah, Yoda.
Yeah, Omicron, Yoda. Yeah. So
Omicron, Yoda.
yeah, so I probably didn't
Oi. Oi.
spell that for you guys. Omicron. So that's Omicron. And then this one is Yoda.
Omicron, Yoda.
Yeah. So Omicron, Yoda. So how do you pronounce that? You remember?
Yoda.
So it's just like I didn't mention this, but it's like oil. So
Okay.
yeah, oil,
Oi.
or foil, or spoil, or trying to think of another word. But yeah, it's basically oil. Yeah, like I said, soy. We said soy. Yeah, soy. So now, anybody? We're still going to stick with Omicron. What would be that letter right there?
Omicron is.
So Omicron, we take a letter from here, and then we take the next second letter from here.
Upsilon.
Upsilon, there you go.
Upsilon.
Yep. So we got 6 of them so far. So this one was, like group. Or, let's see. what's another word? I mean, it's kind of like shoot, even though it's spelled with an O-O. Shoot, group, ooh, because that's what it is. It's ooh sound. Ooh. Okay, so eu, a, ow, I, oi, like oil or soy sauce or some oi. And this is ooh, like shoot, ooh, group, ooh, ooh. Okay, and then we got one more. Does anybody remember what the last one is? That's 6 of them.
Iota.
Let's see.
AI. Oi.
Okay, we did that one already. I'm forgetting what it is. Let's see. So this easily creates 6 of them with this rule right here. Then there's one more.
Yoda, right?
Iota, yeah, iota.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, these two together. Yeah. There you go. Right in front of us. Right in front of me. I'm just like ignoring it. Okay, so this is actually one of them. Yeah, that's right. So that's 7 of them. And then the other one is, don't worry about it, but it's eta upsilon, but that's another one. But these are the 7 we really want to focus on. So anybody remember how to pronounce that one?
We.
Yeah.
You. We.
We. Yep.
We.
We.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Upsilon and iota is we.
Yeah.
You pronounce it we.
Yeah. Upsilon.
Wow.
Yeah. So not upsilon, but upsilon. So upsilon and iota
Oh, okay.
is we.
Upsilon. Okay.
Yep.
Upsilon iota.
Yeah, so epsilon, upsilon is eu. This is a,
Eu. A.
ow, I,
Ow. I.
oi,
Oi.
oo,
Who.
we.
And we.
Yeah, we.
We. Okay.
Yeah.
We.
Yeah. So
We.
basically, ooey or we. So you can almost think of it as like, because it is upsilon, right? So you would almost spell like upsilon like this. You can think it like that, upsilon, right? So if you start out with ooh, right? And then you go ooey, because you pronounce this Yoda as E, so you would say, get rid of the oops part. Put that over on this side, actually. And just ooey, and then you got we. Just
We.
ooh from here, ooh to E, ooey, we. So this is, oh, so ooh. So it's, like oh, ooh. So we just say it as one, ooh. And this is, OE, so, yeah. No, this is oi, sorry. Oi. I guess that didn't really make too much sense, but anyway, oi. Like, O-E, oi. It kind of does. Oi, oi. Yeah, I guess it does. O-E. Whereas this is ooey. So this would be like we, because it's ooey. This is O-oo, so ooh. Ooh, and this is oi, so oi. So we just say oi, 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 oi. We say there's one, oi. Yeah, and then epsilon oo, so it'd be eu, eu. And then here epsilon iota, so it'd be I.
Hey, excuse me, celebrate.
Yes, sir.
We in Philippines we use the word the word that oi, like we call somebody we oi, like that.
Oh, you say that in Philippines?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oi. We say that oi.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's a Greek,
I don't know, bro. Yeah, that's funny. I know. In America here, the English will say "Hey," so it's probably similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is ow, so ow, 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 ow. And this is ai, ai, ai. Yeah. So ai. So this is e sound. Yoda is e sound. Remember, same with all these e sound. So I. So I. We just put it together. I. So instead of e separate, it's I. So this is ow, I, a, au, oi, oo, we. Right.
Now this is
Wow.
when I put it with English words like that AU, I kind of like wrote down euthanasia, and then that EI, the A, I put like the number 8. It's the same sound.
Hey.
Right?
Yeah. Actually, I think somebody's got.
AU like Maui,
Okay.
Are we?
and then I like Thai food,
Thai?
and it plays right in.
Thailand? Thailand?
Yeah. There you go. Like Thailand. There you go. Exactly.
I haven't figured out one for the Wii yet, but I got the idea when I saw your group. That looks pretty good. The GROUP group.
Yeah. And then.
Zero.
Or
Group.
Luis, maybe?
Yeah, like Luis. Like somebody Spanish,
Luis.
Luis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Luis?
it's like that. Yeah, Luis. Yeah. It's just like that. Yeah. So let's see this website here.
Hey, Sir Nuts, where did you learn that one?
Which
do you
one?
have any, do you have any, you're using the apps now, the Chrome? And
That was
Nuts? Sir Nuts?
something for me to recognize letters. I used several websites and stuff to learn what the letters look like and identify them. But that was only for that. It won't help. I didn't see anything about this.
Yeah.
Because I noticed you, I think you're familiar with the alphabet, yeah, the Greek.
No, I'm just, I'm kind of seeing
You
the
just research.
like when he put group, that's what gave me the idea for that.
Okay.
Hey, see if you guys get this link. Check that out when you get a chance. That's pretty good free website. Some good explanations of stuff in there. I'm looking at that right now. So he's got like for this one, he's got I. Actually, he's pronouncing. Yeah, like I said, within Erasmian, sometimes you get people pronounce things a little bit differently. He starts out saying it's pronounced I. This one, but then he changes and says or a because that's the way I pronounce it. A. So he says as in pray. So this would be like. That's a good example. Pray. Yeah. And then let's see. Example, yeah, he's got for this one is oil. And then, yeah, he didn't really have an example for this one. But yeah, we came up with Luis. That's good. And then, like we said, this one would be like cow. And, yeah, and then, he had this one group. That's actually where I got that. So that's group.
My head now is hurt.
Yeah, your brain's gonna explode. Okay.
Hey, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. It's already 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, guys.
So sorry. Maybe I'll watch it again. Maybe
Yeah,
later
sure.
on.
Yeah.
So thank you guys.
Okay,
thank
brothers.
You,
God bless. Yeah, we'll pick it up next week.
Sir Brett, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, sir. You betcha.
I learned 7 diphthongs, the 7 vowels, and praise God.
Yeah, you gotta study, brother.
Okay.
You gotta study. Okay, Ken. Take care, brother. Happy Lord's Day.
Bye-bye.
Lord bless you. Okay.
God bless you.
Okay, brothers. Yeah, so I don't know. You guys maybe, if you guys want to stay on or if you want to get off or you want to discuss anything, it's up to you.
I'm going to go for do some exercise, but thanks so much, Brett. I'm going to study up.
Amen, bro.
Yeah, man. It's dusting off. Yeah, I'm just trying to dust it all off. It's
right.
Brand new. But
amen.
Yeah, thanks for going over all that. It was very helpful.
Okay, brother. God bless you.
All right, brother. God bless
you. See
you.
you. Okay. All right, Frank. How about you, man? How's it going?
Well, I'm doing good. I've got the one pronunciation down. I spent the week kind of studying, and something I read said that these letters, the like for example, alpha starts with a, and they say that the first sound of each of the letters was either the long or the short sound. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
That they had different ones too. But I found myself constantly getting stuck with a key and the C.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, those are two of the most challenging. The ones that aren't like English alphabet are obviously most challenging. Some of them more than others. So, but yeah, you just got to keep practicing. It'll flow. But I remember when I was in school. You probably remember this too. That sometimes the professors are like they get so advanced into stuff that it's hard for them to remember what it was like back when you were still learning. And as I'm going through this, because this is the first time I ever taught Greek, so to go back to this level and go through this stuff, because once you just start doing it. And I remember years ago when I was taking Spanish, and there was a Puerto Rican girl in my office where I was trying to practice what I was learning in class. And some of the stuff I was trying to discuss with her grammatically, she didn't know what I was talking about, man, because she just uses the language, right? So yeah, it can be kind of challenging to kind of get back into these micro level details again and try and remember some of this stuff. So, but yeah, so cool. Yeah, what did you put that link for that? I think you sent it to me an email though, didn't you, or something?
I did, and I can send. Is everybody on this? What is this thing that we're using right now?
Yeah, Google Hangouts. Yeah. I guess if you just post the link there, everybody should be able to see it.
And you can look at it and approve or disapprove. Tell me what you think because you're you're the one teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and because it's an app that I need to install on my phone, I guess, right?
Well, the cram is at this point. I don't know if that's only if people haven't learned their letters because that's all it does is it shows you the letters.
And, okay, so it's not like vocabulary or anything. It's just alphabet.
No.
Oh, okay.
I was going to send these links because I think that if anyone didn't learn the letters this week, these are the things that helped me.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't tell me anything about what you're doing now, like with the what are these things called again?
The diphthongs and all that stuff. Okay. What about the vowels? Did it talk about the vowels or?
No. One site said something that there were 7 vowels, and it was one of the questions on there. But I was mostly just focusing on trying to learn the letters.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's fine then. So. Yeah.
Okay.
Good deal. All right. So, yeah. Anything else, or how's everything else going? Or
it's going good. I guess it's like I want to take the next step, but it sounds like we probably need another week of letters.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I didn't know. I was kind of hoping we'd make it a little further as far as like maybe even going through how to write them and stuff. But yeah. I mean, it's probably understandable with trying to get people to be steady on here and stuff. There's probably going to be some of this sort of 2 step forwards, 1 step back kind of thing. So yeah, we just try and bear with it and try and make some progress, and then if anything else, you're going back over again, and sometimes you just got to keep pounding the same nail till eventually it just starts to come and stuff. So
did we have everybody this week? I think we had 2 new ones, but did everybody come back? I don't remember.
Well, like I said, Jim didn't make it. Yeah, he wasn't able to make it. But last week it was you, Jim, and Lewis. Wasn't there 4?
I think so.
Yeah, so maybe there's somebody who didn't make it back.
And Lewis knew half of it last week, didn't he? He got all the way up to new, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. There's some more people in the group, but it just seems like people aren't able to make it. It's a little frustrating for me because like when I post those things in Facebook, I see people see them, but nobody's making any comments. And I'm like asking like, oh, okay, what time do you guys want to meet on Saturday? Is this time okay? And then everybody sees it, and maybe even maybe a few likes here or whatever, but it's like nobody's saying anything. So it's like, okay. So I guess, well, whoever shows up, and we'll just bear with it. But
maybe everyone's being passive and doesn't want to
invest the time or something. Yeah.
Well, for me, I'd enjoy it if it was an hour later, but it sounds like everybody leaving now. Maybe it needs to be earlier.
Yeah, it was. The tough thing is, what I'm trying to balance it is, for Ken in the Philippines, I was hoping he'd make it last week, but he didn't. But at least he made it this week. And then there's another brother, Naphtali, that he knows there, that mentioned a couple weeks ago that he wanted to be in, but this is his second class and he still hasn't made it yet. So I even asked Ken, like, hey, do we want to bump it up an hour? Would that help you out? And he's like, no, I guess because he's going to go to church and stuff, whatever. So yeah, so that's understandable. So yeah, we just try and find the compromise there, whatever we got to do to, get as many as we can, I guess. But so anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think some things is maybe I'll have to see if I can maybe even share some YouTube videos or whatever out there. But everybody's in different places in their walk. And for me, what ignited a fire for me for wanting to study Greek was two things. One was I was super intimidated by it in the beginning. So it wasn't until my coworker, I think it was an act of God, where I had this girl that was working with us for a while, as a programmer, and she didn't even go to school for programming or like I went to school for engineering, had programming classes and stuff. She didn't go to school for any of that. She went to school for like studying Greek and Latin classics. So she had all this. Koine Greek was one of the languages that she learned, right? And so she's like telling me about this stuff, like what, back in, it's 2018, so 2012 or something, 2013, we were having this conversation. And she's like, oh, you could learn it. I'm like, no, I can learn it. I mean, that's probably really hard and stuff, And she's like, no, you can do it. You can do it. So then she pointed me to this course that, I started studying this course. And it wasn't until later on, after I was kind of getting a little puffed up, like, oh, man, I'm doing, I wouldn't say this to anybody, but I'm thinking in inner monologue, you're like, oh, man, I'm really blowing through this first year course, in like 4 or 5 months. And then I come to find out later on, it was a dumbed down version for grade school level children. It wasn't like a seminary year 1, 2, 3 or whatever. And that kind of rightfully so, good. It's good. It's always good to be humbled to where it's like, yeah, this is when I started comparing it to other textbooks that would be used a lot of times in seminary courses. I started seeing that first year was maybe like, it wasn't half, but it might have been a little more than a third. I don't know. It was you take those first 3 years together, and maybe you got 1 year that you would have in the seminary course and stuff. So, but that, gave me a lot of confidence, like with all this self-study. And then after, I forget how long I was studying, few years, then all of a sudden the opportunity came to go to that Polis Institute summer course that was down here in Southwest Florida. And it's very expensive. It's very expensive because I had to take the time off work, which was 8 weeks. I had to pay $1,200 for the whole time to stay in dorms. And then I had to pay $2,500 for the course. So it was all that opportunity cost of not working together with all that. It was very expensive, but I wanted this, right? I was like, this is super important because as years ago when I started studying early Christian writings and I started seeing all these things that I'm comparing it to scripture. I'm like, wow, this is what the Bible actually teaches. I've never heard this before. And just as I'm uncovering more and more, truths and things about how narrow the road is to make it in the kingdom and, saved by works or not by works, by grace, and, lest any man boast, all kind of, this is talking about conversion. It's not talking about making it into the kingdom. And I started seeing all these things. I'm like, man, I want to know more and more and more. So, of course, initially, those first few years, I was just focused on that. But then as this came along, I was like, well, I want to understand what all these guys are saying, including the New Testament in Greek. I wanted to see some nuances that maybe I'm not getting. So that's why I started studying this stuff. And and then the more I started studying, I started seeing there's multiple reasons why. It's like most people would just think the reason why you may not see something between English and Greek is just simply like the translator didn't pick the right word. And that's some of it, but it's only a small part of it. there's multiple reasons why you won't see it. One reason would be, I think is really big, is translators, and I'm saying sometimes they could do better with this, but sometimes it's just the languages don't hold up. It's not a one-to-one fit. It's like taking a Corvette chassis and trying to fit it on a Toyota body or something. They're trying to fit the two together. They don't mesh perfectly. And, not that I'm super fluent in, I don't even remember Japanese anymore, but that was my first foreign language that I learned like 25 years ago. And then as I got into Spanish and eventually, ended up in a situation where I was, with Spanish and stuff, learning Spanish quite a bit. And so I started realizing there's a lot of things that you can't get. One of the first things that stuck out at me, I remember with, I don't know your position, your beliefs on divorce and remarriage, so I didn't want to get too much into that. But anyway, I found myself into a remarriage situation. I found myself in adultery. So anyway, she was Spanish, and I was in that whole Spanish community for like 5 years. So being immersed in that, I learned quite a bit Spanish because there's certain times we're getting together with her family, especially her mom would come visit. She didn't speak any English. They, many times her brothers, whatever, they hardly speak that much English. So that made me try even harder to brush up on what I was learning in college, and then started getting better at Spanish and stuff. So, but I remember sometimes there was things that they would, when we'd go to Puerto Rico, and her and her brothers, they'd all be sitting around laughing, talking about things in Spanish. And sometimes I'd be able to follow, and sometimes I would not be able to follow them. But every once in a while I would ask them, I'd like, what does that mean? What'd you just say? Whatever. And they would tell me literally word for what it means, but they're like, it won't make any sense to you because it's just a cultural thing. Word for word, you just, and so there's things like that of why you won't understand things. There's things like that, even if you study it in Greek, the people will make arguments. See, the text says this, and they're arguing with their dogma. The Bible says this, whatever. But but that's an idiomatic expression that is not meant to be taken literally, kind of thing, whatever. And so that, to me, is part of the reason why the early church helps understand what the New Testament says in some situations. So there's just all these different things at different angles to try and get at what is the truth, And so that's been motivator for me. But for me, if I ran into somebody doing this, I would be like, and I had the same, anywhere moving in this direction of desire that I have to learn Greek for free, I'd be like, this would be a no-brainer, But I just think, people just don't see it because they think that once they're saved, they're in, they're just waiting on the Jesus bus stop for Jesus to show up for them and stuff. And so, they're studying the Bible, they're trying to learn things or whatever, but what, we got English translation, what I got to learn Greek for, whatever. They just don't have the incentive. They just don't have the incentive. So,
well, it could be that. It could also be the intimidation factor. Even myself, I don't know if I'm ever going to make it through it. It looks impossible, but I'm going to try, and I'm going to do the step by step like you're teaching and see where it leads me.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's sort of like, I've heard of people that it eventually became, like one guy I knew in Orlando was in prison, in and out of prison before he ever, came to Christ, come to know God and stuff. Like he was just, oh man, he's just so demonically like enslaved and stuff, and just his marriage falling apart, I mean, just everything, just life caving in on him or whatever. So anyway, once he came to God, he got out of that, got out of prison, got out of that crazy drug life, the whole thing, whatever, started cleaning himself up. He'd never run before. That wasn't something he did, but he started doing it. And, he started out, he's running a block or whatever. Eventually he started running marathons, man. So it's like, to me, that's what it is. It's like, if you hang in there and you just keep at it, because I try to keep hitting Greek in some measure every day. Sometime I might be learning something new, looking at some videos, looking at some material or whatever that I have. And some days I might just be picking up the Greek Old Testament, the Greek New Testament. I'm just reading. But I try to every day, I try to hit it. And I think if we're consistent, it's like you're painting layers, Starts out as a purple wall, you paint first layer, that's not sufficient. You're still going to see the purple, pink poking through. But you just keep hitting layers and layers of white, Eventually, you get that build up, and then, yeah, so. But it's a process, man, but. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do a little experimental stuff here in this class of like trying to combine some of the methods. Because I'll just tell you, when I went to that first Polis class that I did, the second one I did was last year where I went to Rome. But even in that one, like the first one more so, like once class starts, you can't speak English. If you're going to talk to the professor, it's only, or the other students, it's only in Koine Greek, right? So I can see where that method, when you're in Jerusalem, taking a 1 year, 2 year master's program, whatever, where you're just inundated, you get out of class, you can talk with your fellow students all the time in Greek, and maybe they may not do it at first, kind of like when I was only there. I was in the first course was 4 weeks, and then the second course after that was the second 4 weeks. And some of us sometimes would talk a little bit, but I could see within that short startup time, not that we were super beginners or anything, but just still, you know that you have not that much time until tomorrow's class. You're like, oh, okay, so a lot of those people will be like, I think my time is better used if I just go home and study. And there wasn't a whole lot of hanging out and talking. There wasn't a whole lot of time. But if you're in Jerusalem and you're at Polis Institute and you're there for a year or two, eventually you're going to be hanging out a lot, and people are going to be conversing in it more and more because they've been doing it more and more in class, not just 4 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever. And then the more you practice that, the more people are just start treating it as a language to converse with. I mean, these guys, they become experts at this, at least as they understand the language, the way they're taught the meaning of these words. Not saying that there couldn't be some possible errors in there or something with some of that, but because they're practicing it, they become very good at understanding it that way. So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Like initially, let's get hopefully within a month or two to where we're actually just conversing, making simple sentences, practicing with each other, talking with each other, and then kind of get a handle on some real basic vocabulary, both verbs and nouns and adjectives, like I said, and then come back around to each of those elements and then get into more detail about them, but at least having a nice overview. Maybe even in some ways it might even be an incentive too, because you've tasted what it's like to actually read some simple stuff in the New Testament, not to mention we're making our own simple sentences and stuff or whatever. And so I'm thinking that might be a good idea, which is kind of different than, because when I took Polis, what they do is they take all the vocabulary in the New Testament and they put together this book, and you can buy this if you want on Amazon. And even that's what I did, and then go to their website and download all the audios for every chapter. It's for free once you buy the book. I'll show you the book. Let me see. But what they do is they take all the vocabulary in the New Testament and they create this story of these young people, and with the teacher interacting with them, almost like they're learning Polis, class or something. And yeah, so I'll just hold that up there. But you can find that on Amazon. Let's see, how much was it?
It doesn't focus very well.
Oh, no? Okay. I'll take a screenshot and upload it to the Google Hangouts thing there, or email it to you or whatever. But yeah, basically it's Polis Institute Press. That says by Dr. Christopher Rico. The name of the book is, again, you can put this into Amazon, Speaking Ancient Greek as a Living Language. And it says level 1, student volume. And so yeah, it starts out very simple, and you can go to YouTube and see. There's a couple videos where he shows some stuff that syncs up with the very beginning of the book. And like, I'll just tell you, like, in the typical course that you would take in a seminary or wherever, they're always going to postpone. They're going to start out, when they go into verbs, the very simple aspects of the verb that is present tense and the type of mood and voice, to where it's just the simplest, and you're just talking about factual things that are happening right now in the present time. And then eventually you'll go into simple past and future, and so just but eventually you start getting into where you're using the imperative mood, where you're actually giving commands, right? He jumps into that right from the beginning, because he argues that that's the way children learn. Their parents are saying, stand up, lay down, would you, eat your vegetables, or take this, or hey, let me have that, or all these commands, all this imperative mood type stuff. And so there's a lot of simple stuff like that, and he demonstrates that on YouTube. If you want to Google that, Polis Institute, just Koine Greek, it should come up, and you'll see him starting out in the very beginning where they're learning how to say each other's name. Like my name would be onoma, so you would say, and then you would say my would be mu. Say onoma mu, or say onoma moi. Sorry, so it'd be moi, the dative case. Sorry, so onoma moi, and then I would say my name Brett, and then I would use the to be verb estin. It is estin. So onoma moi, and there was the name to me, literally, Brett estin. It is Brett. And then he would say a question. He would say, onoma soy. So onoma to you, soy, ti estin. And he would say, onoma moi Christoforos estin, right? And that's how the video will start out. And then they start getting into more types of commands where they have to stand up, sit down, pick up the water bottle, whatever. And, and you'll see if you do buy this book that the book starts out that way. And, they go, chapter by chapter, and there's English along with it, So that was the thing when we took the first course, which is 4 weeks, which is this book. We blow through this whole book in 4 weeks, meeting every day, 5 days a week for like 5 hours a day, for 4 weeks. So what is that? 20 days, 5 hours a day. So 100 hours. Yeah. So you blow through this thing 100 hours, and you're kind of getting some of it. It's kind of spinning in your head, when you're going to the next class and stuff. And then the other class was, he's going to publish it soon, but he had some draft version of this second volume that was the advanced, the next 4 weeks. And that was more advanced stuff. So most of this stuff is, not much more past present tense. Maybe a little bit of simple past, a little bit exposure to that. And then one of the things we'll get into eventually that Greek is very much about, that English is not so much, is you'll hear it called a participle loving language. Participles, it uses participles a lot. And there's multiple purposes for the participles. But he gets into the participles a lot, and he just starts to introduce them towards halfway or 3/4 the way into the book, to this book. And you kind of get a little just introed a little bit, but then he really gets into them in the next. So, but yeah.
So that you're showing me there is the Speaking Ancient Greek by Christopher Rico.
It says Speaking Ancient Greek as a Living Language, and then the author is by Christopher Rico. Yeah. So as long as you type in the word Polis Institute. The word polis is Greek for city. Yeah. So Polis Institute. Yeah.
Polis, metropolis.
Yeah, there you go. I guess metro is like in Greek, mesos or meson is kind of sometimes the sigma or the S sound together with T kind of interchange a little bit, because in Attic there was a lot of words that had 2 T's, and then when it comes into Koine, over as you're moving towards the time of Christ, we're still a couple hundred years, it's evolving to where a lot of those T's, double T's in the middle of words evolve into sigmas. And so sometimes as we go, you'll see some vocabulary sometimes that maybe 1 or 2 in the New Testament that maybe has the T, but instead of the S or something. But usually it's there's a little bit of relationship there, a little bit. It's not very frequent, but I think that maybe that's where metro comes from. Maybe from mesos, which means middle. I don't know if that means like middle city, or I'm just totally guessing. I'm not sure what metro is. I don't know. I'm totally guessing. I could probably look up. Yeah, a lot of times what I do is I'll put in the word etymology, and then put in a word, and it'll kind of give you the genealogy of that word, the roots, like goes back to Latin or Greek or whatever. Google will do that. But so anyway, man, I got so many different texts. I bought Bill Mounce's book a long time ago, but I've never really spent that much time in it. I got a book by a guy. I could show you that the first few years I was into this, it was really hard for me to find any sentences that weren't in the New Testament. A lot of seminaries, they don't want to use anything that's not in an ancient text. And one thing I appreciate about these guys is they're brave enough to step off the page like, look, we've used this language enough. We know what these means. We can form other sentences that are similar to that. And is it possible there could be something wrong with any of that? Well, yeah, but if you think about how we learned as children, we did the same thing. And it wasn't until we got to 7th, 8th grade where we got into, advanced English class or whatever, that some of those little nuanced things that we got corrected or learned some things or whatever. But still, we were speaking English for a long time. Maybe it wasn't perfect. We were communicating. So similarly, to me, that's the argument. It's like, if you got these people who are getting a good handle on the language and they start forming other sentences or whatever, don't be afraid to use those sentences, because it's going to give you an introduction to the language. And then the more you practice, when you start looking at trustworthy sentences and writings like Greek New Testament or the Greek Old Testament, over time, just studying those, because you've been studying already, a lot of those words already just becoming natural because you've been taking this approach, that where those little nuanced little corrections that need to happen, it's not a big deal to correct them. And I think we do that all the time. We just don't think about it. So there's different schools of thought out there and arguments that people debate about these things. But to me, I think the living language approach, doing it all by itself without the other approach, I think is lacking, because it's really overwhelming to just have a professor only talk to you in Greek and you're trying to understand what he's saying. And sometimes he's drawing pictures and making, animations and stuff and acting things out to help you understand. But sometimes you're like, there's certain words you're like, if you're describing an elephant or something, yeah, I'll get that. If you're describing, an adverb or something, I may not understand what you mean or something, whatever. But, so I think the combination of the two together, and I think a lot of the students that go to him already, because Christopher Rico is Catholic, so a lot of them already, a lot of Catholics I've noticed study Latin and Greek, in school. So they've already had some exposure to some of that stuff. So when they come into a class like this, it really just takes off for them, because it's that next level they needed, for them to really, because just for me, I don't know, when I was studying engineering, when I get out of all my theory and I graduated with my 4-year degree, some of those things, capacitors, inductor, whatever, was kind of swimming in my mind. I kind of remembered it. But when I actually started getting into a job where I started actually designing things, and I had senior engineers to show me that, I kept studying, going back into my text. And it's like some of these things just started, then light bulbs started going, I started getting it. And I started doing different things. And then it's like it just all started coming together or whatever. But yeah, you just got to keep wrestling with it, man. But eventually it comes and stuff. So.
Well, we're not doing 5 hours a day. How long do you think this will take?
Yeah, it just depends on what level people want to go. This is probably more of like a starter thing, really. If you want to just Google that Polis Institute thing on YouTube, so you can look at that video like I'm talking about, just so you can get an idea. And don't feel bad if you don't understand, if you can't follow everything he's saying. But if you get any of it, a lot of those videos, there's a lot of YouTube videos on Koine Greek. Over the years, I just keep going over them. And there's ones I've found that are more advanced. There's one guy that, Rogelio Toledo. I got to be real careful with that guy, because he's a real worldly guy. He's, Mexican guy, worldly guy. But he went to Polis. He graduated. He's teaching out there. I guess 4 months ago, I thought about actually taking some classes with him. Like, he was charging a reasonable price back then, but I was still thinking, man, that's a little expensive. But if you bought in volume, like 10 classes, they came out to about $27 a piece or something like that, $20 a piece for an hour, And I think otherwise, if you bought like a onesie twosie, it was like $33 or $35 or something. And then somewhere along the way, I guess he got popular or something, supply and demand kicked in, and he raised his prices. And now he's charging, I don't know, like $55, $60 an hour. It's crazy. And for you to even get anywhere close to $48 an hour or something, you got to buy like a block of 10 or something, or $50, whatever. So I was just like, nah, he's got a bunch of material on his website. I'll just keep going over and over that. And that's helping a lot, because it just, something about the hearing it, not just reading it, helps me so much. It just, it's so much more powerful than just reading. So, and if you do go check out Polis Institute and you look at some of the testimonies of some of the people there, whatever, there's one guy in particular. He looks like he's maybe from the Middle East or something, and he's given a test, or maybe he's Spanish. He's given a testimony, and in fact, let's see, I got this saved on the screen, right? Let me see. I think I might be able to do that. Tell me if you can see this. You see me going to YouTube here?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay, let me. What do I got to do to change this?
You'll notice when you watch your video from last week and this week, you'll notice there's a big difference in the quality. This week you've got some connection issues. You jerk around a little bit and it's blurry and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's definitely on the internet side because like the other guys were there and I could see them clearly.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I wonder what I could do about that. Let's see though. What I gotta do so you can see my screen. See my camera.
Hey, you did it last week. I don't know. You had to do something.
I know, right? Let me hang this up and I'll try and figure that out. I'll call you back.
Okay.
Okay. See you, brother. Yeah.